What's up everyone, Jonesy here again for the Hyperspace Database, the show that highlights the great secret history and trivia of all things Star Wars. Today's topic, the TIE Defender. The TIE Defender was an advanced starfighter developed by the Empire, in the Legends before the Battle of Endor, but in the new canon before the Battle of Yavin. The TIE Defender was developed by Cinar Fleet Systems, and was an advanced model of the standard TIE Fighter line. This model included deflector shields and a hyperdrive system, unlike its other dispensable TIE Fighter counterparts. It also possessed heavier laser cannons, concussion missiles, and a tractor beam projector, which made it function as a fighter as well as a bomber when necessary. It was an expensive fighter to produce, but the addition of a hyperdrive and deflector shields meant that it could operate as a long-range fighter instead of being anchored to a Star Destroyer or other land base. The TIE Defender has a deep history in the Legends continuity, so let's start with the new canon first. The TIE Defender was developed by Grand Admiral Thrawn on Lothal around 2 years before the Battle of Yavin, and was developed as a side project while Project Stardust was in construction, which was the code name for the first Death Star seen in the movie Rogue One. The starfighters were soon discovered by the Spectres, led by Hera Syndulla as told in the Rebels TV show, when the Imperial forces deployed a prototype unit to follow the Ghost through the Archeon Nebula. The TIE Defender was able to withstand the incredible heat of the nebula thanks to its shields, and was easily able to outfly and destroy the slower Y-Wing fighters that accompanied the Ghost, unlike the TIE Interceptors that were also deployed. After this event, the TIE Defender was upgraded to be faster, more heavily armed, and more maneuverable, thus earning the designation the TIE Defender Elite. The Rebels were able to steal one of these upgraded ships, though after a kill switch was activated, the only things they were able to recover were the ship's hyperdrive unit and flight data recorder, though this information revealed how deadly the ships really were. The Rebels would later attack the TIE Defender factory, hoping to halt the production of the deadly fighters. And they did succeed, though indirectly, as the local Imperial Governor Price destroyed the fuel depot in a last-ditch attempt to destroy the Rebel attack force that had rescued Hera. With the destruction of this fuel depot, the factory was shut down, and the production of TIE Defenders halted. Funding of the project was then redirected to the construction of the Death Star, much to the anger and disappointment of Grand Admiral Thrawn. In the Legends continuity, the TIE Defender has a much different history and story. It was developed by Imperial R&D specialist Grand Admiral Demetrius Zarin, shortly after the Battle of Endor, and after a failed attempt by the Grand Admiral to overthrow Emperor Palpatine, the ships were ironically instrumental in bringing about Zarin's destruction. These TIE Defenders were developed to make the Imperial fleet more flexible in deploying its fighters. Yet they still had no life support systems, so the pilots had to wear the same life support flight suits that the other TIE pilots wore. Since the TIE Defender was much more costly than other TIE variants, they were only piloted by elite pilots of the Imperial fleet, and few of them were made. The TIE Defenders were featured heavily in the video game TIE Fighter, where you play as a recruit in the Imperial Navy. Admiral Zarin was charged by the Emperor to build the next evolution of the TIE Fighter, and so the Grand Admiral set to work developing what would become the TIE Defender. After the ships were completed and approved by the Emperor, they entered Imperial service, where they earned a mixed review from the Imperial hierarchy, partly because of the cost of the fighter, and partly as this seemed to be a play at power by Admiral Zarin. This latter concern turned out to be well-founded, as Admiral Zarin attempted a coup against the Emperor, and tried to use the technology in the TIE Defenders to bolster his own forces. The coup ended up failing, though as a result, the Admiral was able to steal many of the TIE Defenders that were in service at the time. This led to the creation of the Imperial Missile Boat, which was specifically designed to counter the TIE Defender. The Grand Admiral saw heavy losses to his fighters after this point, and was finally driven back to the unknown regions where he attempted to consolidate his forces. He was then defeated by then Vice Admiral Thrawn when he attempted to use an unstable cloaking device in conjunction with his failing hyperdrive system, which was just as Thrawn had planned all along. The TIE Defender was seen in countless other battles and undertook numerous missions in addition to its feature in the game TIE Fighter, though it was still deployed in small numbers and only flown by elite pilots. The TIE Defender was seen in the legendary Yuuzhan Vong War, some 25 years after the Battle of Yavin, in which the Imperial fighters would team up with Rogue Squadron, Twin Sun Squadron, and Vanguard Squadron to fight against the organic ships of the Vong. They were also seen as late as 44 years after Yavin, when Imperial Head of State Jagged Fell used them to flee his failing flagship Star Destroyer and make it safely through a heavy firefight to his Turbulent-class Star Destroyer, the Bloodfin. The TIE Defender was a formidable space superiority fighter, and was an incredible boost to the Imperial Navy, and were it not so expensive to produce, would have completely turned the tide and led to a much different outcome in the Battle of the Empire against the forces of the Rebel Alliance. And that about wraps up this episode, but be sure to stick around to the end for some secret trivia. Did you like it? Be sure to check out my other videos as well, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and the little bell to be notified every time I publish a new video. Be sure to select all notifications here, go into your YouTube app settings and select all notifications there as well to never miss an episode. Thank you guys so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.